room at the same time many times and never connected.
I know, man. I've been looking forward to this for a long time. Well, every time I see you, you're talking to somebody. I don't want to interrupt you.
So are you. You're always surrounded.
But, man, we got so much to talk about. I want to do a life story on you. And then I really started paying attention to you probably around 2020. And I was like, oh, man, I really like what this guy's saying.
What got your attention in 2020?
I don't remember exactly what it was, and I don't remember the exact time frame, but I just remember you started speaking out about a lot of the stuff that's going on. And I just have a ton of respect for any celebrity type, whether that's Hollywood, music industry, sports, whatever. There's just not that many people that go against the grain. And you are a man that I know you stand by your values and beliefs, and you do not waver on that for what appears to be anything. When I watch so many other people in the industry, they go with the grain. They don't care about their values and beliefs. And, for lack of a better term, they seem to sell their soul.
Mm-hmm.
And you are the exact opposite of that. So I appreciate it. And I know a lot of people appreciate you stepping up.
That's very kind. I appreciate you saying that.
My pleasure.
Saying, being, whether it's with your music or an interview or social media or whatever, saying something that is going to upset your handlers, but you say it anyway. Will it affect your bank account? Yes, it will. It'll affect your opportunities? Yes. You know what else it affects? Good sleep. It affects your sleep. You sleep better at night, or at least I do, knowing that somebody with a checkbook wasn't able to keep me from saying, I didn't look at that as leverage on me to keep me from saying what I needed to say. Because I'm an American, by God. That's what I am. I'm allowed to talk if I want to. And you're allowed to not pay me if you want to, by the way. You're allowed to take things away from me, but if I'm willing to give that up, let's go. And what kind of sacrifice is that compared to what people have given up for this country since day one? It's nothing.
Yeah.
I like good sleep. And I like to set an example for my two sons who are teenagers now, that when you get out in this world, you don't back up. If you know it's the truth and you know that's what the boss wants you to do, you do it. Doesn't matter what they take away from you. Don't even give it a second thought. So I look at it from all those various angles, and that gives me the confidence and the soul fire to go out there and make those statements and say what needs to be said.
I love that, man. How fast did you start seeing that affect your business?
So it was prior to 2020 when I came on your radar. It was in the 20-teens, probably 2010, around in that range, when Obama became president. You saw Music Row, a lot of the original guys that were running those labels from back in the day, which were actually country music fans, and they were mostly all patriotic guys and really talented, and they were country music to the core. They started replacing those people with people from LA, people from New York. They would bring in a New York guy to replace the Nashville guy at, for instance, RCA Records or something. And then when the new guy comes in, he would start changing the culture of that label, which bled all the way down into the artists, and it bled all the way down into the publicity departments, and what kind of songs you were allowed to cut and not cut, what interviews you were allowed to do, who you were allowed to interview with.
Holy shit,
I started getting in trouble with the label because I was doing interviews with Sean Hannity. Like, I'd go on Fox News and Sean would want me to come on and talk about the Tea Party, for instance. I actually went down and played with Sean. I played a song at the first big Tea Party rally in Georgia. It was 20, 30,000 people. And my record label went absolutely insane that I did that. You're going to upset half your audience. And of course, they've got their money invested in you to go sell records to everybody. And from their perspective, I'm alienating people. I said, well, you've got liberal artists that are out here saying all kinds of stuff that I don't like. You're not worried about them. They go, that's not the point. It was the point. And so I realized.
What do you mean that's not the point?
That's what they would say. I guess what they mean by that's not the point is, we own you. We own your voice, your likeness, your music. And if we say we don't want you to do it, that's the point. It's like, do as I say, not as I do. It's like when you ask your parents, well, why can't I do that? And they said, because I said so. That's how they treat you. So it's like a indentured servitude type of existence. So when it started stepping in on what they were telling me I was allowed to say and not say, and what kind of lyrics I was allowed to put on a record, that's when I realized, okay, we're turning a corner here that I'm not okay with. But then at the same time, listen, I grew up my whole life wanting to be on country radio, play the Grand Ole Opry, write hit songs, country music, man. That's what I wanted to do. It's my American dream. And my vehicle to do that is this big record label. So if I lose that, do I lose the American dream by losing that? And that's what artists are looking at. You wonder about the ones that don't say anything. That's literally what they're looking at. So you really only see the bigger established artists that are too big to cancel, too big for they make too much money for the record label, for the label to drop them. Jason Aldean's a great example. I remember when they attacked his wife on Instagram. The woke mob, attacked his wife. And I remember him texting me going, basically, you see what they're doing to my wife? Yeah. What do you think I ought to do? Something along those lines. I said, what would you do to anybody else that attacked your wife? He goes, Music Girl ain't going to like that. And I said, I'm telling you, man, if you come out swinging, you're selling 30,000 tickets today, you'll be selling 60,000 tickets this time next year, because the Patriot crowd will come to your back. And to his credit, man, he came out and just put his dukes up, and here he comes swinging, and you saw the fallout, right? Everybody freaking out about Jason Aldean, and he's hanging out with Trump, or he put out this song, Try That in a Small Town, and all these kinds of things. And he is doing stadium shows now because people appreciate authenticity in this country. Be an American.
Yeah.
And if you want to be a lefty American, be a lefty American. Okay? I mean, I have more respect for hardcore lefties that'll unapologetically come out and say the most insane, in my mind, the most insane things I've ever heard, but at least they're convicted enough to go say it.
Yeah.
So we need those people on the other side with enough conviction to counteract that. There just ain't a whole bunch of us.
Have you seen anybody else that starts to make the switch?
I mean, you saw Carrie Underwood, all she did was show up and sing America the Beautiful at the inauguration.
She crushed that.
Yes, of course she did.
I don't know what was
with
going
no
on.
music.
Yeah.
Remember the music got messed up?
Yep, I remember
They're
it.
like, where's the track? We can't get it to play. And Carrie just goes, I'll sing it a cappella. Yeah, because she's a freak of nature talent. She doesn't need any help. That's a real artist. And so she sings it. But then what happens the next day? Everybody in pop culture attacking Carrie Underwood that she's, singing for a fascist or whatever they said. And that's what happens. So you have to be prepared for that. If you even dip your pinky toe into that, they're going to come at you.
Man.
So that's what artists are looking at, if you're wondering.
Damn.
Why some of them don't say anything.
It's sad. It's sad to see it. But we'll dive into this a little bit more later. Everybody starts off with the introduction here.
All right. I know. I watch your show all the time. Can't wait to hear it.
Right on. John Rich, son of a Baptist preacher. Your faith inspires your music, including your recent hit single, Revelation. Multi-platinum country music singer, songwriter, best known as one half of the iconic duo Big and Rich. Former bassist and co-lead vocalist for the band Lonestar, where you contributed their early success in the 1990s. Successful solo artist with albums like Son of a Preacher Man. Entrepreneur who founded the Redneck Riviera brand, including a popular whiskey line and bar in Nashville and in Las Vegas, hosted the CMT reality show Gone Country, and appeared on programs like the Celebrity Apprentice. Co-founded Old Glory Bank, a financial institution focused on serving conservative values and protecting against debanking. Supporter of veterans and first responders, and a vocal advocate for American freedoms. You're a husband, father of 2 boys, and most importantly, a Christian.
That's pretty good. I'll take it.
Right on, man. So, John, I figured I'd love to pray with you.
Okay.
You want to lead it?
Well, it's your house.
All right, let's do it. Jesus, we just want this story. You know, John came from nothing in childhood, and my purpose of this interview is just to show that the American dream is still alive and well, and to bring hope to all kinds of people, not just in this country, but throughout the world, to know that there's always a way out of poverty, and there are no limitations. And I also just want to thank you for bringing me and John together today. And I just hope this turns into a flourishing friendship. In Jesus' name, amen.
Amen. Ain't starting better than that.
That's right. That's right. Everybody gets a gift.
Check in with the boss.
You got any guesses?
Everybody does get a gift. Yes. Well, I brought you a gift.
I love gifts.
So it's like you could add anything else, but it's not big. It's small. But the only other person I've given this to is the Secretary of Defense, Pete Hegseth. And I figured he had probably been given everything. He had never been given this. And his eyes widened up and he goes, this is going in my office in a very particular spot. So I ran across a couple of these a while back, saved them. They've been in my safe for specific people that I know love our country as much as I do and have sacrificed for the country. So what this is an original worn World War I victory medal.
No way.
You've probably seen pictures of these. I doubt you have one.
I do not.
So, oh, that's all right. You ain't gonna hurt it. That thing's been all over the world. So what's interesting on that coin is when you flip it over, you'll see all the countries that were our allies during that war. And notice they didn't call it World War I, because how could there be World War I if you hadn't had World War II yet? Interesting thought. So so if you read what it says, it'll tell you what they called that war. And our allies were China, Japan, Russia, all these countries, which got me to reading like, wow, I never even considered that. But that one says France. So that means that was worn by a U.S. soldier that had fought in France.
Man, the Great War for Civilization.
The Great War for Civilization. So that's about 100 plus.
Man, China.
Yeah.
Back when China was an ally.
Back when China was an ally. Yeah.
Man, thank you.
You're welcome.
This is getting framed.
I figured you'd have a good spot for
This
that.
is getting framed, and it'll be hanging in here.
I love stuff like that that's so ancient and over a century old, to know that some man had that on his chest. Some man was in France killing Nazis, actual Nazis, and he was part of us winning that war. And like I said, you have one and Pete Hegseth has one. So
Thank you, John.
yes, sir.
That means
Happy to give it
this
to
is
you.
awesome. Thank you.
Yes, sir.
Well, man, you've outdone me. Vigilance League gummy bears.
Oh, awesome.
Made in the USA, made up in Michigan. No funny business, legal in all 50 states. You're not going to feel weird. We actually had a guy email in. It's like, I've gone through 3 bags of these. I still don't feel anything. It's like, it's just candy, buddy. You'll feel it in the morning.
I appreciate that.
But
Can I let my kids eat it?
oh yeah, we'll give you a bunch more.
All right,
Give you
cool.
a bunch more.
Thank you. I love that bag.
It's got all the bad shit in there: sugar, red dye,
Perfect.
you know, all the stuff everybody hates. But
So you haven't given one to RFK yet, I guess.
no, yeah, actually, I did.
Did you?
I did give them one, but they'll probably be illegal in all 50 states here by the end of the year. And then
Appreciate that.
got you another thing.
Okay.
I know you're a gun guy and a huge Second Amendment supporter, so I got a buddy over at SIG. His name's
Uh-oh.
Jason.
All right.
And I told him you were coming on. He's a huge fan. And
Oh, awesome.
He wanted me to.
Holy smokes, man. Thank you. You got your FFL? Can we sign this over today?
Well, we'll sign it over in a couple days. But I
Wow.
think you'll
Okay.
like this. Hopefully, you don't have one already.
I do not have. Wow. Look at the grip on that thing.
So that is the Sig Sauer P211 GTO.
Good Lord.
It's Sig's first go around of a 2011. That thing is smooth as butter.
Oh, wow. Is that a Hollison?
That is Sig's new optic as well.
It looks like it, yeah. I don't know about you, but I like the circle around the dot. You know, some guys just like the dot.
Yeah.
I actually like being able to see the circle. I don't know why. That is beautiful, man. Yeah, my carry is just a 43X.
Really?
Yeah, 43X. But I've got a Shield Arms makes a aftermarket mag for that. That's a 15+1. So it'll actually hold 16 rounds in a very small.
Oh,
frame.
nice.
So it's easy for me to conceal wherever I've got it.
Nice.
But man, this is beautiful, man. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Wow.
Maybe we'll break that in on the break here.
Okay.
Cool.
Thank you.
See what you got, John.
Yeah, well, I ain't got what you got. I've seen you standing there on your videos. You go, we're about 80 yards away. Let's see if I can hit it. And you're just like, bang, and then you hear, ping. I'm like, oh, come on, man. Yeah, I can't do that.
Well, we'll get you
That's
dialed in.
absolutely beautiful. Thank you.
You're welcome.
And tell that gentleman I said thank you.
I will. Jason will be
Jason.
very happy that you like that.
Thank you,
So.
Jason. Incredible.
All right, John.
I didn't get that when I interviewed with Piers Morgan. That's crazy.
Pierce didn't give you a gun?
I know.
How odd.
It's so crazy.
But so yeah, I want to start off with your life story, and then we'll move into some various topics that are going on today. I know your latest debacle with the TVA. We'll get into that, but where did you grow up?
So I was born in West Tennessee. My parents met at college in West Tennessee. My dad's a Texan from the Panhandle of Texas. So basically where Amarillo is, there's a little town 60 miles from here called Pampa, Texas, Pampa. I was born in West Tennessee. When I was 4 years old, we moved to Texas. So I don't really remember living in Tennessee back then. So I grew up in Texas, up in the Panhandle. And it's flat, it's windy, it's Tornado Alley. I mean, that's where it's at. It is a different part of Texas. It's not Dallas or Houston or Austin. It's where their actual cowboys live up there. And my great uncles and all the men that came back after World War II that lived up there, you know, they had those lines in their faces so deep you could plant tomatoes.
Damn.
You know, from being in the sun.
Yeah.
So they worked oil rigs out there. They were farmers. And my Granny Rich is from Pampa, Texas. Dust Bowl days, she was born during the Great Depression while simultaneously experiencing the Dust Bowl days. So think about that. Great Depression's bad enough, but in that area of Texas, also the Dust Bowl days. So those are the types of people I was around growing up, which has a pretty dramatic impact
Hard workers.
on a kid. Yeah. Like they like to work. It wasn't like, man, I had to work hard today. It's like, we got a lot of good work done today. Like, we're going to eat some dinner, go to sleep, and we're going to get back up and do it tomorrow. Like, it was energizing to them and gratifying to them to go out and work really hard.
Man, you don't hear that much anymore these days.
You really don't.
Unfortunately.
But there is a great sense of accomplishment when you've worked really hard. Let's say you're splitting wood, something simple, but it's hard. It's hard to do. And you went from 45 red oak stumps that are now no longer there, and you look over there and there's this beautiful stack of red oak ready for the winter, light up that fireplace at Christmas, and you realize, and you're sore all over and sweating and bug bites and all that, and you go, that's a beautiful stack of wood. And you did something. I think it's something that a lot, especially young people, miss these days, is they don't understand the gratification you get from doing something hard.
Yeah. Manual labor.
I really think it's not good for your head to not do manual labor on some level.
I don't think so either.
I mean, go mow the grass, do something. Go run a weed eater for 3 or 4 hours and tell me how you're feeling.
Do you have your kids do manual labor?
Yes.
What kind of stuff do you have them doing?
They help me split wood. They run weed eaters. They'll go out and I'll say, we don't hire people to put mulch down at our house. We go to the mulch yard with my truck and trailer. They'll load in 9, 10, 11 yards of mulch, which is quite a bit.
Yeah.
And get to the house, and then we got pitchforks and wheelbarrows, and I'll say, invite 2 of your buddies over. I'm hiring everybody to lay this mulch today, and I'll be right here doing it with you. And so it takes all day to do it. And when it's over, they all get paid, and they're all just beat from pushing a wheelbarrow up a hill 100 times, you know. But then they go, boy, it looks good, doesn't it, Dad? I go, it looks perfect. It looks better than the guys I hired to do it a few years ago. That's why I don't hire them anymore. It looks better when we do it because we own this land. And someday you're going to own this land, and you need to know every square inch of this land. The land's alive, and you own it. You need to know how to take care of it, what it is, where all its spots are, good and bad. You need to improve your land. Like, you need to own it. It's part of who you are is the land. And they really latched onto that. And so they take a lot of pride in doing things that improve the surroundings of where we live.
Man, I love that. When did you start that? How old were they?
Probably they're 15 and 13. When they were about 8 and 10. When they were big enough and had enough on them where they could pick something up.
Nice.
Yeah.
Did you grow up doing hard work?
Big time.
What
Loved
kind of
it.
work?
I mean, we were running it was half-acre or bigger garden in the Panhandle, growing beans, jalapenos, tomatoes, watermelons, cantaloupes, corn. I mean, and so out there, it's so windy that you have to dig really deep rows when you plant those seeds, and you build it because it's so flat. You can't get the water. If you lay a hose in a row, you can't get the water to move down the row, so you actually have to find a spot of land that's a little bit tilted, or even build your rows up a little bit. So when you lay that water hose at the top, it'll run all the way down the row down to the end, and then you finish watering that row, you lay it in another row, right? And you're weeding it, and you're shooting jackrabbits that are out there trying to eat your cantaloupes and all that stuff. And yeah, I have a little garden in town right now, nothing big, but I always like to have something I can go pick. I picked some cayennes this morning at my house.
Nice. Nice.
Yeah.
What else were you into as a kid?
You know, the guitar for me was my thing. My dad taught me how to play guitar when I was about 5 years old. That was one of his extra jobs, would give guitar lessons. My dad's really great singer, really strong guitar player, and one of his side jobs was giving those lessons. And one day he asked me, he said, John Daniel, which is what they all called me till I was not that long ago. My grandmother called me John Daniel till the day she died. John Daniel, you want to go with me to guitar lessons? I said, yeah, Dad. So I jump in the car and go down there, and he's got 7 or 8 adults sitting in a semicircle, and he's got to give them a lesson. He kind of hands me a little cheapy guitar and says, just follow along with what we're doing. He gave me the page that they were all looking at, and I'm following along and I'm picking it up. Well, after 2 or 3 of those lessons, I was picking it up real fast, and he realized, you're pretty good at that. You're like ahead of a lot of the adults I'm teaching. So then he really started to teach me some stuff. And by the age of probably 7 and 8 years old, the worst punishment you could give me would be to not let me have my guitar.
No,
that's the worst.
It's
take that away from
7 or 8 years old.
Like today it would be take away the kid's video game or take away their iPad. For me, it was take that guitar away. So I would sit in my room. We had these, you probably remember these, like a jam box where you could play the radio, but it also had a cassette deck. So if you'd hit play and record at the same time, it would record whatever you're hearing on the radio.
Oh yeah, I used to do that all the time, man.
Yeah, so you'd be like timing
You'd be waiting for the song to come on.
And boom, hit both of them. Yeah. So I would do that, and then I would spend the next week listening to that particular song over and over and over till I could play everything in that song. And that's how I got better at guitar.
No kidding.
Yeah.
You grew up, I mean, if I remember correctly, you grew up in a trailer. Did you grow up in a trailer?
It was a double wide. So it, your idea of what a trailer is not what I would say I lived in. It's manufactured housing is what I would call it. But yeah, it's a double wide. But my dad, there were weeks that my dad's a preacher, but my dad would work sometimes over 100 hours a week, over 100. So some of the jobs he would do, especially getting started out there in Texas, he was a night watchman in Amarillo National Bank on the weekend, so he's walking all night long. We slopped hogs, guitar lessons, He worked for several car dealerships. Matter of fact, he got a big break after he's a really great salesman. Got a big break and became general manager of the big Nissan dealership. Now, when that happened in Amarillo, we moved from where we were living into a brand new brick house with a concrete slab and 10 acres and a horse barn.
Nice.
Right? But there were times I watched my dad really have to dig deep and make sure he's got 4 kids, make sure that everybody had what they needed, and everybody did have what they needed. But you watched your dad work that hard. I remember him coming in like he would walk the bank on a Sunday night, and we're getting up at 6 a.m. to go to school on Monday morning, and there's my dad walking in with his uniform, sits down in his chair, and me and my 2 little sisters would grab his boots, everything we had, to try to get his boots off his feet because they were swelled up like balloons from walking the bank all night.
Wow.
He'd sleep 3 or 4 hours and he'd get up and he'd head to the car dealership, or he'd had to go do whatever other job he was doing. But, to his credit, no plates hit the floor. You hear about spinning plates. Plates didn't hit the floor.
The most important action you can take today is to help protect your family's future from cyber criminals and online predators. And Bunker, that's BUNKR, can help you do just that. Bunker was developed by experts with 25 years of experience catching criminals and fighting cybercrime. They created Bunker to help protect their own families, and now they're sharing it with you. Bunker even offers a family plan. With the family plan, you get a private messenger to share messages, photos, and files with your spouse and children, connecting only with people you approve. No spam, no surveillance, no imposters, ever. You also get a password manager to help safeguard your family's online accounts, including financial, shopping, streaming, and social media. You even get a vault to help securely store important documents like photos, IDs, birth certificates, and passports. Visit their website, bunker.life/SRS, and use code SRS for 25% off your family plan today. That's bunkr.life/SRS and use code SRS for 25% off your family plan today. That's bunkr.life/SRS and use code SRS for 25% off your family plan today. Why are elite athletes and high performers using Armora Colostrum? Because Armora Colostrum is nature's first whole food with over 400 bioactive nutrients working at the cellular level to help build lean muscle, accelerate recovery, and to fuel performance, all without artificial stimulants or synthetic junk. Armora can help strengthen immunity, help ignite metabolism, and so much more. I've been using Armora ever since they sent me some to try. I have more energy and faster recovery after long days and workouts. Whether you're running a business, training hard, or just want an edge, Armora can help optimize your body for peak output. I've worked out a special offer for my audience. Receive 30% off your first subscription order. Go to armora.com/SRS or enter SRS to get 30% off your first subscription order. That's armra.com/SRS. These statements and products have not been evaluated by the FDA. These products are not intended to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent any disease or condition. These statements and information are not a substitute for or alternative to seeking care from your healthcare providers. How did you and your brothers and sisters, brothers?
I got 2 younger sisters and a younger brother, so I'm the oldest of 4.
Right on.
Yeah.
How did you guys handle that? I mean, I work my ass off. Mm-hmm. I work my ass off, and I always worry about, I got enough time with the kids. I got enough time with the family. So I'm curious, how did you guys feel about your dad working so much? Did you understand what he was doing?
I did. I understood that he was hustling because you got 4 kids and you got to keep everything going. And even at a young age, watching him work like that, I'm like, man, that dude is just, it was unreal how much he was working. But I'll give you like a story on him, tell you, maybe give you some insight on me just knowing this about him. He didn't like any of the schools in Amarillo. He didn't like them. Even the little Christian school that he had me going to, he didn't like it 100%. He saw some issues with that. So he said, you know what? I'm just going to make my own school. And so he found, I think it was a couple of World War II Army barracks sitting off somewhere outside of Amarillo. It used to be a big Air Force base out there. LBJ, I think, had a big base out there. I could have the details wrong, but anyway, it was some old barracks. They were going to get rid of them, and he brought 2 of them out and got some other men together, and they spent about a year or so connecting those buildings and completely remodeling these buildings. And this was when we were in the double wide and started a school called Tierra Grande Christian School. So the area of town we lived in was called Tierra Grande, Big Earth. And that's where I went to 3rd and 4th grade.
No kidding.
Yes, sir. And so, in later years, I said, why did you go through all that? He goes, there wasn't a school in Amarillo I thought was good enough for you to go to, so I built my own school.
Damn.
And hired teachers and got other people to enroll. And he ran a successful school there for a couple of years. Now that's some drive.
That is.
Yeah. That's a dad that cares about what's happening with his kids.
Yeah. Is he still alive?
He is. Yeah. He just had his birthday, 73.
Man.
Yeah.
Happy birthday.
Happy birthday, Dad.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
So music became part of your life. You became really good at the guitar. 7, 8 years old. Dad works his ass off. What kind of manual labor? What kind of work were you doing as a kid?
Well, so when he was slopping hogs, I would go slop hogs with him. So he would take me along on his jobs. I was you ever slopped hogs?
No.
Okay. So they give the kid the job of basically the hog farmer would go to the grocery stores when their bread and milk would expire. And so you would get these pallets of moldy bread and pallets of clabbered milk, gallon jugs of milk. Okay. And so my job had this concrete wall. My job was to take bags of bread and smack them against the wall and throw the plastic away and smack them and smack, say 100 loaves of bread, and then take a snow shovel and dump them off into a bucket. And then you had a razor, like an X-Acto knife, and you pick up the clabbered milk and you cut the top of the milk off and chunk, blah, 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 into a bucket.
Oh, man.
And then throw it away and then cut another one and do 100 gallons of milk. And then they would blend those 2 things and put vitamins in it. And then the men would go out and they would actually slop the hogs. So I'm standing in the back prepping the slop.
Right on, man.
Yeah.
Right on.
Yeah, it was interesting. I mean, you got hog operations are interesting. Some of those hogs are 700-800. They look like 700-800 pounds. Massive tusks. I saw them eat each other, attack each other, kill each other. Yeah.
Damn.
You know, in The Wizard of Oz, when they tell Dorothy, don't climb up on that fence because you don't fall in the pig pen. Well, there's a reason, because they'll eat you.
Damn. Damn.
But I love that I got to do stuff like that. I mean, it's so vivid in my mind. I was 8, 9, 10 years old doing that. It didn't seem bad to me at all. I was working with my dad, so I thought it was cool. And again, it goes back to doing manual labor, doing hard work. There's a lot of gratification you get out of that, and you learn things, and right, you get to take credit for something looking better or something getting done.
I did a lot of manual labor. I didn't slop hogs though. But what about your mom? Who was your mom?
So she's a Tennessean. My parents were married about 18 years. I got divorced when I was going into my senior year of high school. She was like she could type real fast. So she was like a paralegal and, did her job on the side. It was a lot of effort going on back in those days.
Are you guys close?
Not really.
Why not?
Well, are you close with both of your parents?
Yes, I am.
Well, you're a very lucky man.
Yes, I
You're
am.
a very fortunate man. My mother figure in my life really was my Granny Rich. So that'd be my dad's mother. Without impugning anyone or anything like that, it was just the way I was being raised by her was not the correct way to raise somebody. I'll put it to you that way. I'll give you another example. I married someone who is the exact opposite of who my mother is. I mean, totally opposite. You hear people say, well, you're going to marry somebody like your mother, you're going to marry somebody like your dad, and whatever was going on that wasn't right, that just perpetuates itself generation to generation. And I said, yeah, not in my case. That's not going to happen. So I married somebody that was the opposite of that was the opposite of me in a lot of ways, a lot of balance. between the two of us, and now we're about to have our 17th anniversary, which is pretty good for anybody, much less a country music singer.
No kidding.
It's almost unheard of, man.
Congratulations.
Thank you, sir. I appreciate it. So, it also becomes part of your life. I think the way she raised me and the way she was around me hardened me. It angered me a lot. But it hardened me too. It made me go like that. Like it made me understand what that is. And as you get older in your life, you got to let a lot of that go. You got to dump that because you can't have that hanging on you the rest of your life. But you do pick up things from it that are useful. For instance, how to exist, as you know, as a combat guy. Now, I wasn't in combat, but the mentality of I'm not afraid to walk into this uncomfortable, perilous situation, whatever it is, because I've been around them a lot. Now, on my end, again, that does not even compare to you and some of the men that have sat in this chair. But for me, that mentality was there. It's still there. And it's why I don't really back up. I don't mind engaging people when they need to be engaged. Does that make sense?
It does make sense. I mean, being a man of faith, and I know you have a very strong faith and you know the Bible really well. I'm just curious. I mean, if does it bother you that you're not close with her now in these days? Is she still alive?
She's still alive, yeah.
Do you guys ever talk?
I think if somebody, let's say her, if she was ever willing to come forward and admit to all that stuff and apologize for it, we could kick things back off again. But when somebody wants to keep it frozen in time and just leave it there, then the choice of the person who was on the receiving end of that, you have two choices at that point. One is let it continue to be part of what you think about and let it affect you in really bad ways, which I did for a very long time. Or two is you talk to the boss and you say, I want you to take that off of me. I want that off of my back. I want it out of my mind. I want it off of my back. It is what it is. There has been no amends made for it, and there won't be. So I'm asking you to take it off of me. The word would be deliver me from that. Get that out of what makes me me. And after asking that for several times and meaning it, one day he just did.
No kidding.
Yeah. And then I'm able to look back at it and go, well, what are the positives that came out of that? Not a bunch, but it did turn me into the type of individual that now where I do have control over myself, and I don't do what I used to do, which we can get into all that. Google it, you'll find it. I'm able to use that and be extremely effective when it comes to engaging something that needs to happen. I know we're going to talk about some of those stories coming up, but almost fearless of things. You just go, yeah, that's not right. I'm coming straight at them.
So you've always been like that.
I've always been like that to a degree. I think, though, I got saved when I was 8 years old. My dad having church at the house. Little kid, got baptized in a horse trough. So where the horse drank water in our backyard. 8 years old. Way on down the road into my adult life, as all kinds of things unrolled, and I was living as the ultimate prodigal son for a very long time, and reconnected back to him and apologized to him and rededicated myself to him. And then all that stuff that I had done and learned throughout those years that I was using in the wrong way, but I had learned them and gotten good at certain things. Now that I'm straightened back out and plugged back in and listening, now I can take that skill set and apply it towards extremely big things and be effective with those things. It's interesting how he does that. Like the question of, can a person that doesn't have insatiable ego ever succeed in the music industry? No, they can't. There's something about the listeners, the any entertainer, whether it's a movie or singers or whatever, the general public, they're attracted to people that have overpowering, they'll call it charisma, I would call it ego. I guess maybe it's a mixture of both. But that's there, and it's extremely destructive. But can you even accomplish what it is you accomplished if you hadn't had that? I wouldn't have. But then it can eat you down the road. So the thing is, if you're lucky enough and he gives you enough patience to let you go through all that without you dying or something terrible happening, you can turn the corner, and then all that stuff you got to learn, and now you can do it on his behalf instead of on your own behalf, which is where I am today.
Love that. When you say you got saved at 8 years old, you got baptized at 8 years old, was there anything specific that had happened that saved you? Do you have any experiences? What was it why 8 years old?
Listening to my dad preach, he was going through the passage where Jesus said, "Behold, I stand at the door and knock." I remember my dad was knocking on a table. He went knock, knock, knock when he said that. "Behold, I stand at the door and knock. And if any man hears my voice and opens the door, I will come in with him and sup with him," meaning have dinner with him, "and he with me." And I could see that picture in my head, like of Jesus knocking on the door and coming inside our house and sitting down. And Jesus standing outside the door, and all I've got to do is go over to that door and turn the knob and open the door, and he'll just walk in. I remember thinking that at 8 years old. I go, well, if he's standing at the door of my heart, of course I want him to come in. It's Jesus. And I remember just being hit by that such a strong way that when my dad had the invitation to come forward, if you'd like to give your life to Jesus, and I'm 8 years old, and I went like that and came down.
Wow.
Yep.
I'll bet he was proud of that.
Kids can give their life to Jesus much easier than an adult because they're not all fouled up with their own issues and problems. They're kids. They're innocent still. It's why probably the most aggressive thing Jesus ever said, and I wish I could have heard it in person in Hebrew, because I bet they would have considered it some cuss words coming out of his mouth, was, "If any man causes one of these little ones to stumble, he'd be better off to have a millstone tied around his neck and cast into the depths of the sea." Not if any man abuses one of these little ones, if any man kills one of these little ones, if anyone slaps one of these, if anyone causes them to stumble. Well, if you go look that up, what that means is mess with them at all, because they are in a state of innocence. It's the most innocent thing that lives on the earth, are kids. He said, you'd be better off dead than to do that. So when you're 8 years old, you're standing wide open. Right. That's why kids need to hear the gospel. Kids need to be told about who Jesus is. Kids need to understand that, because once you give your life to Jesus, yeah, your life could go off the rails. It probably will at some point or another, and whatever. Life's a crazy thing, but he's in there. And you come back around to him, he's going, "I've been waiting on you." That's kind of how I feel like it went with me.
Man, wow. Have you stayed rooted in faith throughout the duration of your existence, or have you fallen off at all?
I stayed rooted in it as so much as I knew it, and I knew it to be true. And there were things I would do that were obedient, but for every obedient thing I would do, there were 9 things that were disobedient. And he'll only let you do that for so long. And if you're really lucky, he'll only slap you hard enough to knock your teeth out and not knock your brains out. If you're really lucky.
That's a good way to put it.
Yeah. And so, when I became a dad, I started thinking about, we call him the father. He's our father. Well, now I'm somebody's father. And then I thought, and we're created in the image of God. We are created in his image. Well, what that means to me is that means every emotion that I feel, he feels. I'm in his image. That also means he has a sense of humor, which I find to be a really interesting thing. I'd love to hear him laugh one time. But every emotion we have, he also has. So that means how I feel about my sons on the absolute perfect and most intense level is how he feels about his sons and daughters. So mine is an imperfect way, and it is so intense for me. I would pile them up by the fence as deep as I could get them if they came after my kids. And so would you. And so would millions of people that are probably watching this right now. That's the level of love we have for our kids. Extrapolate that times infinity, and that's how God feels about us. Man, once I had that realization, I went, wow. I'm like looking up going, that's how you think. So if you're going to discipline your kid will, it keeps going out in the street and playing football. And you have told him 10 times, do not go out in the street and play football. You get hit by a car, dummy. And he keeps going out there. Well, eventually you're going to have to do something pretty drastic to punish this kid because you don't want him to get hit by a car, right? Now, you ain't going to kill him. You're not going to break a bone or something. You're going to do something. You're going to snatch him up, and something significant is going to happen for his own good. He looks down at us and goes, I'm looking at my son, John, down there. I'm going to have to be drastic with this guy. He is too bullheaded. He's too fearless of things. He ain't listening. I'm going to have to smack him around. That's why I said, if you're lucky, he'll only knock your teeth out instead of your brains. Because he can just take you out.
Have you had your teeth
And
knocked
just go,
out?
I've given you every chance in the world, you're out.
Have you had your teeth knocked out?
Many times.
You got any examples?
He knocked him out a few times and it didn't work. So like public humiliation, losing record deals, being fired from very, very successful situations, and take me from riding high all the way down to nobody's calling and can't pay my rent. That was knocking my teeth out. Didn't matter. Wasn't understanding what that was. Wasn't ready to yield yet. And so on and on and on it goes. And I used my success as a hammer to beat the crap out of people with it. And that goes back to how I was treated as a kid when you talked about me and my mother. I felt like I was having the crap beat out of me all the time. So when I finally got the upper hand, I took my own success, and it was big success. Millions and millions and millions of records. #1 songwriter in Nashville 3 years in a row at ASCAP. I was Songwriter of the Year 3 years in a row. That's hard to do.
Wow.
That means my songs got played on country radio more than anybody else's songs in all of Nashville for 3 years in a row.
Wow.
Right. So I had that kind of success, and instead of doing what I would do now with success, which is go out and try to help other people and do good things with it, I'd go right on. My hammer just got bigger. Now who can I hit? And I'd make sure they knew I had a hammer. Right?
Wow.
Walk around like a mob boss, like I'm the man. You know, and what that was, I was just dishing out what I'd taken.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yep. But it makes sense when you look at it like that.
What was the turning point?
Turning point for me was nothing specific other than what I'm about to explain to you, meaning I didn't lose some big deal or almost have a car wreck or anything like that. It literally was this. I was sitting in a hotel room, and that's the way I'm conducting myself, like I've been explaining here, sitting in a hotel room after a concert, and I felt God vacate me. Left.
How so?
He just left.
What was the feeling?
Like you had been abandoned in the Arctic Circle. Gone. So until that point, it was still in there. You know, when you give your life to Jesus, you ask the Holy Spirit to come in, and He will. And you can feel it. I can feel it right now. You can too. Mm-hmm. So imagine that being taken away. He just leaves, like, bye. And the same door he walked in, he just walked out and slammed it, and you're just sitting there. Now, there's no more protection for you, no more patience for you, no more nothing for you. You're not going to listen. I'm out. That doesn't mean I'd have gone to hell if I'd have died, but it means that he's done. He ain't going to mess with me anymore. And if you go look back in Psalms, King David had that experience several times. Mm-hmm. Like he said, I'm crying out to you and you will not answer me. Where have you gone? Where are you? Please answer me. Because David did some really bad stuff. Mm-hmm. You know, what he did to Uriah, what he did to Bathsheba, with Bathsheba and Uriah and other things that were really, really bad. I mean, he had Bathsheba's husband killed in battle. He put Uriah up on the front lines to make sure he died so he could take his wife. That's pretty bad. That's about as bad as it gets, actually. And God abandoned him. That's the word, abandon. Abandonment is what that felt like.
So you get done with a concert. You're sitting in, the green room or something?
Sitting in a hotel room, back in my room with my ears ringing like cymbals in my ears. Yeah, sweating.
So what was it, like a bolt of lightning? I mean, was it instantaneous?
No, it was not like a bolt of lightning. It was like, it was almost like you were looking at yourself from the outside of yourself a little bit. Like you're sitting there, but you feel like you can see the room and you can literally feel like the air just got sucked out of it. It was a horrible feeling. I bet it's probably what it might feel like if you were drowning.
Did you know what it was?
Yes, I knew what it was.
What was your next move?
Went over to the little, end table in the hotel room where they always have a Bible, pulled it out and started reading it, and it didn't make any difference. It did not help me at all because he was gone. It's interesting. It's like maybe if your kid says, I'm going to run away, I'm going to run away, I'm going to run away. And then you finally say, fine, run away. Here's your bag. And you shut the door behind them. What's the kid do at that point? Oh, now it's real.
Did that happen to you?
Yeah, that's how it felt. And then what's the kid want to do at that point? Let me back in the house. Let me back in the house. Let me back in the house. It was like that.
How'd you get him to come back?
I apologized and apologized and apologized for weeks. And
to him? Or
yes,
to people
to him.
You had hurt?
To him. To him. This is way past me being around my mother. This is way decades after that. Mm-hmm. Now, I apologize to him. And then I ran across who is now, without a doubt, my favorite preacher of all time. It's too bad that he's not alive here anymore. But Dr. Charles Stanley. If you don't know who that is, go look him up. But I was on YouTube and ran across Dr. Charles Stanley. And I'm watching him, and he gets into, I forget what he was even talking about, and I went, that is the best I have ever heard that explained. What else is on here? And I find another one, and another one, and another one, and I think for a month, I bet I consumed 300 or 400 sermons from him, just one after the next, after the next, after the next. Then I'd pull my Bible out and read along with him, and go through it, and go through it, and go through it, and started reconnecting everything that I had been taught growing up from my dad. I started understanding it again, and now as a grown man, I could feel it. And then one day you wake up and you just feel like it's back. That's how it felt.
Wow.
It was like light switch off, dark room, dark room, dark room, dark room. Lights just came back on. Power just came back on. I could feel him come back in. And then you felt really weird because when that happens to you, then you walk back out into the same world you were just walking back into, except now everything looks completely absurd and repulsive to you. Like I had a horrible gambling problem. Horrible.
You had a gambling problem?
Oh my, I was so good at it, Sean. So good at it.
If you were that good at it, then it might not be a problem.
I was so good at it at blackjack. So I would go in, take over an entire blackjack table. I'd play all 9 seats, just me and a dealer. And I'd play all 9 hands. And I would make sure that they didn't use more than 2 decks. Because I could count them if it was 2 decks. I couldn't count them. Those 6-deck shoes, you can't count those. I couldn't. But I count 2. And so I was knocking their brains out, man, left and right. And you go from a $10 bet's like, oh, I hope I don't lose my $10 too. Now it needs to be $100 bet. Now it needs to be a $500 bet. Now it needs to be a $5,000 bet.
Jeez.
I start getting up in those kinds of numbers where me and Kenny'd pull up at a show, for instance, like in Vegas. You get out of the car to check in the hotel, and a guy would run up with a clip going, Mr. Rich, welcome back to Harris. Here's a $50,000 marker. It's already been approved. Just sign your name here. The chips are in your room.
Wow. Wow.
That's how much I gambled. And then one day I was in Tunica, Mississippi, played a concert, took $62,000 off of a blackjack table in about an hour. I'm telling you, man, I was good at it because I could read, I knew what was happening. $62,000 in cash, fly back home, woke up the next morning looking at that money, and I realized that is the most disrespectful thing you could possibly ever do. Like, that's how he was making me feel about that. You grew up in Amarillo, Texas, with your dad working 100 hours a week, keeping everything going. Can you imagine, like, this is him putting this into my head. Son, can you imagine what your dad could have done with $62,000? Where did you get the $62,000 to even gamble? I gave you the 62. I gave you the talent that would allow you to go out here and earn money like that. And this is what you're going to do with it? Stick it on a stupid blackjack table and risk it? Why don't you take $62,000 and go help a bunch of old people eat lunch every day? Or why don't you go help some kids get out of a bad situation? Or why don't you go help some military vets? Or why don't you go, what is your problem? Is how he was talking to me. And I went, that is so disrespectful to what he's given me. That is like the ultimate disrespect. And so I took the 62 and I went down to a Ford dealership because I needed a new pickup, and I bought a 2010 four-wheel drive Ford King Ranch pickup and paid cash for it. Now, you should have seen the looks on their faces when I said, all right, here you go, I'm paying for it with this. And they open it up and it's just stacks of $100 bills. They called the police and I said, that's fine, I've got the receipt from Harris, you know. And these old ladies back there going, 1, 2, 3. They counted it 2 or 3 times. It was all there, had the receipt, got the truck. Guess what, Sean? I still own the truck. I refuse to sell the truck.
No kidding.
Because every time I see the truck, and I drove it yesterday, every time I get in there, I remember where I was and now where I am. The truck is a reminder of that to me. And I stopped cold turkey. I've not played one-handed cards since 2010.
No kidding.
And I mean, I would take that tour bus 200 or 300 miles out of the way to go hit an Indian casino somewhere or something. I mean, it was like a drug addiction.
No kidding.
Yeah, we had 100%.
Damn, I had no idea.
Gambling addiction is real.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow. And you haven't gambled again
Not
since?
one hand on anything. And I've played a ton of places where I could have done whatever I want.
Did you start giving more after that?
Absolutely.
Immediately?
Yes.
What was the first thing you did?
I don't remember the first thing I did, but I do remember I started looking around for situations that I thought needed help. St. Jude was one that I need to start locking into. Like, kids fighting cancer is like one of the worst things you've ever seen in your life. If you've ever been to a hospital like that, you will never be the same. You will be so glad that your kid does not have cancer. Because it's bad enough when you see the kid dealing, then you look over there in the corner as their parents, what that mom and dad are going through. So, you know, seeing that, experiencing that, I went in hardcore with them. Started helping them raise tens of millions of dollars, donating to them myself. You can use my house for whatever you want. Let me know where you want me to go. So it wasn't just money, it was my time and effort. So yeah, I'm gambling money, but I'm spending a lot of time and effort gambling too. Why am I spending my time doing that?
Did you have kids at the time?
What?
Did you have kids at the time?
My first son had just been born. Wow. He was born in 2010.
Let's go back to childhood. So, you get baptized today, hard worker, dad's a preacher, don't get along with mom, 4 brothers and sisters.
Yep.
Where do we go from here? How did you start? How did the music career take off?
So I never thought in a million years you could make money playing music. I mean, Amarillo, Texas, the guys I knew that made money or driving combines, or riding quarter horses at the Amarillo Livestock Auction, or whatever. Like, it was basically agricultural based. So guitar for me was just something I did for fun and loved to do. When I was 15, my mother wanted to move to Tennessee, where she's from. So we uprooted out of Texas and moved to Tennessee.